Most people today are taking smartphones, tablets, and some fairly sophisticated computer programs for granted. If you think back to the early 1980s when the PC began, and then you consider where we are now, there's been tremendous exponential growth in the technology itself in terms of software and the hardware that software operates on. It's interesting, we're in a similar position today in terms of biotech. A lot of people may not be aware that with new gene editing technology, I'm referring to CRISPR-Cas9, scientists can now cut and paste genes. And really, I consider that in the biotech industry, it's in the same place as the PC was back in the early 80s. So there's tremendous changes that are taking place. So one way of thinking about DNA is it's code for the biological world. And so you're starting to see exponential growth in the biotech industry. Now if we think about NLP and we take, for example, how we represent the world in terms of visual, auditory and kinesthetic representations, we can break those down into their component parts called submodalities. So within each system, for example, we take the visual representational system. When you make a mental image in your mind, it has a certain size, it has a certain brightness, it has a particular spatial location, it could be framed or it could be unframed, it could be panoramic, it may have a particular direction of lighting, it could be in colour, it could be in black and white, it can have particular colour hues that are dominant, it may have a lot of saturation or very little saturation, it could be flat or it could be 3D. And there are a number of other distinctions as well, and all those particular qualities that make up your ability to create or recall a visual image. Those subcomponents are called submodalities. Interestingly, these components of representational systems, these submodalities, and the representational systems, the sequences of pictures, sounds and feelings, this is the code, this is the mental equivalent of code, and subsequently people can recode their experience. I mean, I'm sure everybody has had an experience that they would like to recode of one sort or another. So certainly a person can change a state using submodalities, a person can change a belief using submodalities, a person can add new submodality distinctions in to create a richer representation of something. I mean, how many people, for example, use split screens in their own mind? One of the things I like to do is when creating metaphors is I hold a representation of the person I want to tell a story about, and then in the split screen, on the other screen, I flash up different possibilities until I see something which is a good match, which is a good congruence for the basis of creating a metaphor. So there are many applications in terms of using submodalities, and the nice thing about it, it is the code. We can and do recode our experience, and learning and developing mastery over your own submodalities is a pursuit well worth developing. What's of great interest is when you think about, let's say, a great experience, if you were to compare it with a not so great experience and compare the two, let's say, visual representations, you'll find there are differences in the submodalities that are involved, different configurations of these components that make up visualization. So when we're looking at the world of submodalities and representational systems, we are looking at the mental equivalent of code. How you code experience, how we code experience in our lives. And using this technology, people can reorganize experiences. For example, a person could change a belief, have it recoded as a doubt. That's one example that's been around in NLP now for quite some time.